16 Dovercourt Road. We have before us a copy of the minutes from the November 3rd, 2021 public hearing, as well as the materials. Copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, a covering letter from the agent, copy of presentation materials submitted by the applicant. Forestry is asking for condition number 2, engineering conditions stand from their August 23rd report, 2021. And in our supplemental agenda, we have a previous decision affecting the property. That's the email correspondence that references the report that they still want us to attach should we approve, and a 2-signature petition in opposition from 114, which is adjacent, as well as 120 Dovercourt. I am showing 2 speakers. Is that right?
Madam Chair, I'm unable to locate both speakers by email or phone.
Okay. All right, so we have 2 speakers listed, unable to locate, so let's go to the agent and let's go with questions while staff tries to get them on the line. You there, Mr. Zook?
Yes, I'm here. It's Bart Soki. I'm the agent for the project.
Okay, so panel members, do you have any questions for the agent while we try to get the opposition on the line? Nobody? Okay. So just bear with us in a moment, Mr. Zoki.
Sure.
Thanks. Ollie?
Hello.
Hi, Mr. Posnell.
Speaking.
Hi, Mr. Poznell. Did you want to speak at this committee hearing, or are you just listening, sir?
No, wanted to speak.
Okay, so you're up then. So we just need you to state your name and address for the record, and then you have 5 minutes.
Sure. My name is Matthew Poznell. I'm the resident owner of the house north of the project in question, and it's 120 Dovercourt Road.
Okay, and actually, I'm sorry, I should actually get the agent to give us a brief presentation before I have you speak. So sorry about that.
Sure.
I think I got a little bit mixed up here because we've been waiting. Okay, so thanks for your patience. So Mr. Zoki, can you just do a brief presentation, no more than 5 minutes?
Yes. Could you bring up the drawings, the presentation material drawings,
Sure.
please? Yes. Could you go to the plan drawings first? There might be, those drawings there. Okay, thanks very much. So this version of the building that we're proposing right now it's the same footprint of the building, same size, the same width, and it's at the full width of the lot and the 6-meter depth. And we, had originally proposed that the rationale for the full width of the lot was that if you had 2 properties here, if this property were instead of a wide property over 2 properties, that you could have laneway suites side by side like this, and it would have the same impact on the laneway, same volume or area of building face to the laneway. And in this case, we reduced the depth of the building to 6 meters, and that it lined up with the garages to the north and the south, and that really minimized the impact that the building would have on the adjacent properties to the north and the south. In the previous version, there was the access stair to the laneway suite was extended from the building on the north side and created an overlook condition to the north property. So we moved that stair within the building and under and within the building volumes, that overlook. So we eliminated that overlook condition. And with the what we noticed on these drawings was that the balcony along the east side of the building was there in error. That balcony was meant to be removed, so that so that balcony is not going to be any part of the design anymore. And as far as the landscape variance, the landscape there it's an existing condition, and this new proposal gives a slight increase in the soft landscaping. So as I said before, the building form is the same that the committee did not have any objections to at the previous hearing, and they had asked us to move the stair in and to within the body of the building, and we did that. I think that's really essentially it.
Mr. Poznanel, you've been unmuted.
Okay. Am I able to speak now? Hello?
Hi, sorry. You have 5 minutes. We already have your address. We'll start the clock when you start speaking.
Okay. As at the time of the owner's first proposal, we accept the desire to build a laneway suite, but that is reasonable with scale, and that fits with the pattern and the scale of the adjacent building lots on our street and in our neighborhood. However, the current revised proposal is that the same width as the first proposal would inflate this radically beyond the current neighborhood pattern and is without precedent. While maximizing the scale of the building, the owners proposed to undersize soffit landscaping by 80% of the minimum allowed. The stretching of the size and diminishing of green space will result in a building that does not agree with section 4.1.5 of the city's official plan and would detract from the quality of life in neighboring properties. The lot at 116 is a single lot address. It's not a double lot. It's 48 feet wide and subject to a single lot bylaw constraints. However, the owner's proposed building width of 48 feet or 1.83 times the maximum allowable width of 8 meters is not a minor variance. The owners proposed this size of building in the first committee meeting and was rejected. Yes, except for moving the access stair with the footprint, they have not made any attempt to reduce the width of the structure and its 48-foot balcony that stretches across both properties, looking upon both properties, north and south. The privacy issues previously raised, effectively, this is the same proposal with a relocated staircase. The owners have still not consulted with the immediate adjacent property owners 114 and 120 on the current revised proposal. We hereby ask a second time for the committee to defer the file until proper consultation with neighbors occurs and or the plan revised to reflect our concerns and proposals summarized below. Variance number 2 proposes to build a full width, full lot build out laneway structure that is 1.8 times the allowable width for the lot that is out of scale character with the neighborhood. The current stairway, which descends from the main house, already overlooks into our rear yard on the north, which is 120 Dovercourt, and is serviced by the north property line walkway. The current proposed entry point at the north prop line effectively doubles the volume of people movement directly at our lot line and significantly diminishes privacy in our rear yard. The 48-foot balcony extends to 114 and 120 along both lot lines, and when occupied will create additional loss of privacy on both properties, but especially 120. 4 vehicles parked, the width of the lot is excessive. We dare propose that the suite width be limited to approximately 75% of the width of 14.66 meters or 48 feet, or a maximum of 11 meters at 36 feet. This would result in a structure that is 11 meters wide, or a proposed increase in width of 1.39 meters. By the maximum, the building should step back equally from side lot lines by 2 meters, which is 6 foot 6 feet from both garages or both property lines, width of 1.39 meters times the maximum. The building should be set back equally from side lot lines by 2 meters, which I just said, sorry. These revisions would more appropriately align with intent of minor variance and the city officials' plan. Only 3 vehicles to be permitted at 10 foot wide, leaving room for access stair inside footprint. The balcony terminates 2 meters from adjacent property lines, 114 and 120, leaving 11 meters of balcony between the suite's north wall and our property line. Would then be a partially green space, thereby going back to the proposed variance to decrease the minimum soft landscaping while maintaining more privacy for us and the suite occupants. It would also create a space for recycle bins or bicycles and laneway fire access if required. Also, at the same time, have the rear access for the main access to come through the alleyway instead of the one side. There's already 3 entrances on the south side of my property line. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions of the speaker, panel members? Okay, seeing none. Thank you, sir. Did you
Thank
be
you.
able to reach the other person?
Madam Chair, I briefly saw her for like a few minutes and she logged off again. I'm
Okay.
calling her again.
Okay, in the meantime, Mr. Zoki, can you please speak to the issues that were raised while we try to, one more attempt to get a hold of the other person?
Sorry, Madam Chair,
Yeah.
I think she's on right now.
Hold on, Mr. Zoki, we might have her.
Hi, Jesse Albiston, are you there?
Yeah, I'm Jesse and I'm here.
Hi, did you want to speak?
No, I was just calling in support of the project and listening in to see
Okay.
if there was just anything interesting. I'm looking to do similar projects in the future.
Okay, so you support it and you're at 126 Dovercourt?
That's right. All thumbs up.
All right, thanks a lot. Okay,
It'd
Ms.
be great. Can't wait.
Okay, Mr. Zoki, can you please speak to the issues raised by Mr. Posinel?
Yes, yes, I will. Thank you. Starting with the issue of width, we had addressed in the earlier committee hearing. Yes, the building is wider than what's permitted, but if you take a look at the drawings from the laneway, if you had 2 lots here, and you could have laneway suites side by side, it would have the same impact. What I think is significant here, and what's worth really noting is that if you go back to the presentation material and the site plan drawings in the presentation material, and the site plan drawing at the bottom with that red area, that's the size of a permitted laneway suite and the depth. So the extension of the building towards the east is, to my mind, presents a lot more impact on the neighbor to the south, for instance. And there would be nothing preventing us from having a balcony on the east side of that building, and a much more much greater overlook condition. So we thought that the decision to keep the building at 6 meter depth and keep it back and in line with the other garage buildings along the lane was alleviated impact on the neighbors in a significant way, and that that having it the wider width that does not present nearly the same impact as having a 10-meter depth. So that that was our thinking in shaping the building 6 meters deep and across the full width of the lot. The stairway from the main house, that's not part of this. It's not part of this application. It's not being addressed here, so I really can't speak to that. The proposed entry point along the north side between the two houses and the increase in traffic. Well, if you applied that logic to laneway suite applications, then that would effectively prevent you having a laneway suite, because there has to be some increase in traffic, in foot traffic. It's not going to be there's not going to be hordes of people there, but there's going to be, to any laneway suite, an increase in traffic between the access to the street. The balcony, as I said before, the balcony on this set of drawings, that was there in error. We don't have any intention to have a balcony along the front of the laneway suite on the east side. And the 4 vehicles parking, that's an existing condition. There's no variance for that.
Okay. Panel members, do you have any questions for Mr. Zoki? No? Mr. Solomon?
So just looking at the site plan, I just want to clarify, there is a balcony that's proposed along the entire side of the laneway suite?
That's there in error. That's not going to be part of the design.
Okay, and I think because I initially did have concerns then with that balcony, and it just seemed like a huge area of potential privacy concerns and overlook. And yeah, so thank you for clarifying that.
Okay. Any other questions, panel members? Okay, let's take it into committee. Mr. Reed?
Thanks. I think the variance is, the landscape variance is minor, I think, and that's defensible. The width looks very large, but I do think that it's actually in keeping with the spirit of the laneway suite bylaw. I think because this is such a wide lot, I agree with the applicant that it's basically looking at it like 2 lots, and it would be the same thing, the same built form. So I support this application fully.
Ms. Chan?
Yes, actually, I do agree that to pull back and the suite, and then got more distance from the laneway suite to the main house. I think that's actually a good design, and I do agree maybe there's some privacy issues about the balcony. Whether we should have a privacy screen on both sides, the north and south side, or that's one thing, or pull back the balcony a few feet from both sides. I'm not too sure which one, but I listen. And Nibra, you will have something to say on that one.
I guess I am confused. Is there a balcony that's being proposed as part of this laneway suite or not? I thought that the applicant said there is no balcony.
That was what I heard too. Okay, Mr. Zoki, we'll come out of committee for a second just to clarify. You said
I'm sorry,
no
but
balcony,
from the
right?
drawings, I thought there's a balcony.
Yeah, but
Is it deleted?
no, he said it was gone unless there's another balcony that we're missing here. But I thought Mr. Zoki, you said the balcony was not gonna be put there, correct? You there?
You're asking me? Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
I am.
that's correct. It's
Okay.
there in error. We are not
On
going
the
to have a
drawing,
balcony
oh.
on the east
Okay,
side.
so you wouldn't have a problem then, should the committee approve the application, that as a requirement would be for you to provide a revised site plan that excludes the balcony, right?
That's correct.
Okay, all right, so let's go back into committee then.
Oh, okay. I think that solved the problem of privacy overlook, and I'm in support of the application.
Yeah, so are we gonna add a condition then that a revised site plan be provided, which which indicates no balcony is to be provided?
Yeah,
I think it's a good idea, yes.
yeah,
Yes.
with the balcony removed.
With balcony removed?
Yeah.
Okay.
So do you want me to do a motion for approval, subject to the standard lane engineering conditions for laneway street and forestry condition number 2, and also the applicant has to submit a revised plan to show that there's no second story balcony from
Yeah.
the laneway street.
Yeah, the engineering conditions are in the August 23rd report. Like, I'm not sure if they're different from the standard ones, so we better just go with the report. So it's the August 23rd, 2021 engineering report. Okay, so that's moved by Ms. Chan, including the other conditions she outlined in forestry number 2. So who wants to second? Mr. Reed? Okay, all in favor? Okay, so that carries unanimously with those conditions, so the application's approved. Our last application today is item number 42, 519 St. John's Road. We have before us a copy of the minutes from the January 12th public hearing, copy of the draft plan of survey, copy of plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations. We have email correspondence from transportation. They don't have any concerns because the parking's on private property. Staff report from forestry, they're asking for condition number 3 on parts 1 and 2. Opposition from number 506. And last minute receipt of a list of comparables submitted by the applicant. I am showing 3 people in opposition. Do we have them all?
Madam Chair, the first speaker, Maria Madeira, is present, and I've just confirmed that the last 2 speakers will be watching on YouTube.
Okay, so they're not looking to speak then?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Venturoso, are you there?
Good afternoon, Honorable Chair and members of the committee. My name is Daniel Ventruzzo, Ferris Design Inc. I'm the authorized applicant for the consent and minor variance applications for 519 St. John Street. Our address is 96 Skyway Avenue.
Okay, you have 5 minutes. We have 1 speaker in opposition, so if you can do a presentation, go ahead.
Sure.
Yeah.
We are proposing to sever the property to create 2 lots with the intent of building a semi-detached dwelling with a basement apartment on each lot. We believe that this development will fit within the character of the neighborhood, which has started its transformation with several new developments being built. Over the last several months, we were in communication with zoning and planning staff prior to the hearing, and we have reduced our original proposal of 15 variances down to 10 variances with a further reduction of SFI and increasing of landscape areas at the request of staff and outlined in our submitted waiver. We believe these revisions will be more favorable and suitable in the neighborhood, and we believe the application meets the 4 tests of the Planning Act. We request that the application be approved and look forward to addressing any further questions or comments the committee may have at this time.
Okay, I'm gonna hold member questions till after we hear from the opposition, so I'll have you back once I hear from the opposition. Okay, Ms. Madeira, are you there?
Hi there. Yes. Good evening to everybody.
Hi.
Hi there.
I need your address before you start speaking.
Sorry, this is my first time doing one of these meetings, so a little.
Yeah, that's okay.
So 506 St. John's Road.
Okay. So you have 5 minutes. We're gonna start the clock now, so go ahead.
Okay, so I was surprised to find out that the homeowners living at that address were not the people that had submitted the application. We had no idea. talking to the neighbors on the street, we also didn't know that the current family living there, well, they moved out, were not the owners. And when we received the application at home, we thought it was them that was applying to make changes to the house. And then we later found out that it was a developer, somebody that's going to come into the community, do whatever they see fit, sell and leave. So there was a lot of things that came out that stood out when I quickly reviewed the plans. But the thing that affects us the most is the street parking, or the parking. I see that there are 2 parking spots allotted at the front of the house. So my concern is, by looking at the proposal, they are proposing to cut more of the sidewalk. So that would mean less parking for us on the street. And we just started permitted parking on our street. So people are paying, neighbors are paying hundreds of dollars to have these parking permits to park on the street. And here we are now having a developer come in and take away more parking spots from our neighbors. So that's my only thing, is to keep the whatever is there now, however the curb is cut, that's fine. But to go ahead and cut more to add more parking for their pad parking, just seems a little bit excessive. So that's my concern, is keep the parking that's currently there, but to take away parking from the neighbors so that they can have pad parking for these 2 additional houses, just seems not fitting for the neighborhood.
Okay, thank you. Panel members, do you have any questions for the speaker, Mr. Solomon?
Yeah, are there other properties on the street that have front yard parking pads?
There are some that do have pad parkings, yes. And there are others that don't, and they weren't permitted parking. The other thing I should say was that I was disappointed that the builder didn't come around to the neighbors, knock on our doors and have a conversation with us to say, hey, look, this is what we were thinking of doing, or just introduce themselves. None of the neighbors knew what was going on until we received our notices at home. And then that's when the neighbors started talking. So I was a little bit disappointed with the communication right from the onset, instead of coming around, introducing themselves. So yeah, disappointed in that.
Any other questions, panel members, for the speaker? Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Madeira. Mr. Venturozzo, are you there?
Yes.
Alrighty, can you speak to the issue raised by the speaker?
Yeah, with regards to parking, the intent of our proposal is to have 1 front yard parking space for each lot. Based on the current city bylaw requirements, a semi-detached dwelling with a basement apartment is only required to have 1 parking space. As well, the current bylaw states that a parking space may not be located in the front yard abutting a street. The current bylaw also does not recognize front yard parking pads as meeting the requirement of parking. We are requesting the variance to allow for the parking space in the front yard, as we feel that this is in keeping with the neighborhood. And if you could refer to the submitted list for the front yard parking pad permits, this shows that on St. John's, there is actually a significant amount of properties with this exact condition that have parking pad permits. And in fact, I would surmise that you probably will find that many of the houses have illegal front yard parking in this area, because yes, parking is an issue. If we didn't have this parking on our front yard, we would have 2 additional cars on the street, which would still make this issue a problem for parking pad permits or parking permits on the street. In our opinion, the bylaw falls short of addressing parking issues in pre and post-war subdivisions across Toronto. I don't believe that they ever plan to have vehicles, not to mention multiple vehicles per household, and I believe the bylaw should be amended to include an exception for this and remove this provision so that we don't have variances and avoid variances like this. So I do understand their concerns, but if I didn't have this parking spaces in the front of our house, we would still be adding to the congestion on the street, which if you've gone even with the snow there right now, you have very limited parking.
Okay, panel members, do you have any questions for the agent? Okay, seeing none, let's take it into committee for a decision then.
I just have a question to both Peter and Leroy, or the chair, Madam Chair. I have a note here to say that the transportation is recommending to refuse the front yard parking, but I cannot find it in any of the report. Do you know?
I don't, my notes say that transportation was okay with this because the parking pads are on private property, so, the staff's just double checking.
Yes, because it has some quite a few superseded reports and packages, and maybe I just got confused as which
Yeah.
one I was reading.
Yeah,
That's all.
agreed, there was a big supplemental, so, yeah.
Through you, Madam Chair, that's correct. It's in the email received January 21st, 2022, that they have no objections.
If you look under the tab of the regular agenda, the TPS correspondence,
Mhm.
Ms. Chan, you'll see it there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Mr. Salomon.
Yeah, I think that the proposal is appropriate. The build form fits with the rest of the development on the street. And I note that there are many homes on the street that have front yard parking as well. And so I believe the variances are minor in nature, and I would support approval. Those are my comments.
Okay. Anyone else? Ms. Chan?
Yes, I agree with the comments. I will second the motion.
Okay, Mr. Salomon, go ahead.
Yeah, so my motion would be to approve the consent and the minor and the variances subject to conditions, standard conditions from engineering services and urban forestry condition number 3.
Okay. So, would we put that as standard consent conditions or engineering conditions? Because
So there's the standard consent conditions as well as the conditions imposed by Engineering and Construction Services
Okay.
from their memo dated October 18th, 2021.
okay.
That's great, yes.
All right. So with those conditions, we have a motion to approve by Mr. Salomon, seconded by Ms. Chan. All in favor? Okay, so that is approved unanimously. Well, thank you, everyone, and the committee stands adjourned at 5:40.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you
thanks,
so
guys.
much, everybody. Yeah, thank you.
Have a good
Thank you.
evening, everyone.
Bye.
Good night, you too.